Hello, this is Stephen Vickers. Today we're going to go through using Trimble GPS Pathfinder Office to download, correct, and export GPS data collected in the field for use in GIS software, in this case ArcMap. So first we launch the GPS Pathfinder Office. It'll take a few moments to configure. It'll ask you for your time zone, in which case we'll use Eastern Standard, so that's -5. And once you select that, it will launch and it will ask you for the project, and we'll create a new project. So you see here, new, and I'll name it based on the date, the assignment, and the group number. So I'll create a project file based on this, and I'm going to copy this project folder address and open it in the Windows Explorer, File Explorer. It's not there yet, so I have to create it. Okay, and now I can navigate there. So this is where our data will be downloaded and exported to. So now I can plug in the GPS device. It should automatically launch Windows Mobile. I'll accept the terms, and there I can see it's connected. Now it's connected, I can go to Utilities Data Transfer. I can see again it's connected here. I see that the Receive tab is selected. I'm going to add some data from the GPS unit that I want to download. So I'll select my job, click Open, and Transfer. You see here it goes into that root directory. There's a little report generated as well. So here I have a .ssf file, but here I can just drag and drop or file open to add that data. So you can see that data on the map here. I should have done this first, but we'll do it here now. I want to check the coordinate system. I'm going to change it so it's the same as what I was using on the data collector itself and what I want to use in the GIS software. So I'm changing it to Canada's Modified Traverse Mercator Zone 9 using the Canada GeoID HT2 model for elevation above mean sea level. I can look this stuff up if I want to find out more about it. Looking it up brings me to Natural Resources Canada. So there's a whole bunch of information about height modernization and different datums. Okay, now that that's set, I can inspect the data. So if I click or double click, I see some feature properties, how accurate its estimate is, how many positions were recorded, what its name is. Under data, there's also position properties, but we'll get into that a bit later. For now, we're going to get into utilities differential correction. So if your data was collected more than 24 hours ago, you can correct it. Here you have to make sure the settings, you'll be exporting both corrected and uncorrected. So you likely won't get into this. If it's been more than 24 hours since you collected the data, you can download reference files from another GPS station. And then by comparing the results of the two, it'll be able to make your results much more accurate. So there's two here in Ottawa. There's all sorts of information I can check up on. I can see here it's a continually operated reference station. In this case, I'm going to use this one here. I continue on. It downloads the data and applies a correction. So I can go through, there's also a log file that tells me all sorts of information about it. And you can see here above the .ssf file in the file directory, there's also a .core, a corrected file, which I can drag and drop into the window to take a look at. So it looks very similar, but it is a little different. See, I'm going back and forth. If I want to compare them in more detail, I could actually combine these by going to Utilities Combine and putting them both together into a combine folder or a combine.ssf. So now when I drag that in, you can see both the corrected and uncorrected data. So we're just going to take a quick look to see what the differences are. So I can click on a point, checking out the properties. I can take a look at the position property. So here it'll tell me whether the point was corrected or not, and I can see the precision as well as northing, easting, and altitude above mean sea level. So if you have the time to do that correction, it's handy, but for the lab, we likely won't get into it. So now let's just get to the exporting portion. So I go to Utilities Export. The setup I want to use is Esri Shapefile Setup. And then I want to go to Properties. And I have to go through a few different settings. So here, what attributes are we going to export? Pretty much all of them. It's in your handout as well, but the important stuff is just the position, the time, the naming. So for the export units, I'm not sure if this really matters, but I'm just going to make sure it's set to meters. Under position filter, I want to make sure uncorrected is selected. This is especially important if you haven't corrected your data, because otherwise, if you don't export the uncorrected data and all you have is uncorrected data, you'll just end up with an empty file. So here I need to load a projection file. The projection file we can download. It's the 2951 projection. So I can see it here, and if I zoom in on the map, you see it covers our area here. It also covers the NAD83, Canadian Spatial Reference System, Modified Traverse Mercator Zone 9. So I want to download that .prj file. I'm going to put it in that same project directory. And now when we export, I will select that. So there. I also want to make sure I'm exporting X, Y, and Z because I do value the elevation. And I wanted to make sure that that export was in the same coordinate system as we were working in, but you could see that it was. Okay, now under the export folder, I can see everything that was exported. So here is my my GIS data that I'll be loading into ArcMap, which you can look at the next video for. Okay, have a good day.